Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to some more Albion Online. Today I want to go over gathering resources, crafting tools, and how it affects the player economy as well as the PvP aspect of the game. So basically everything in Albion Online is crafted by players, okay? That means that, you can still go to like the starting vendors and they will sort of like, sell you some very basic stuff right from the get-go. But after that, everything is going to be crafted, which means that the economy is completely in hands of the players. You can't really go to a shop and like, just spend a bunch of silver, for example. Oh, this is actually a pretty bad example. But let's say I go over to this mage sort of guy right here. Let's say I want to get the novice fire staff. I'm gonna actually have to give him the sort of like resources required in order to get this thing. And I can't just simply pay with the gold and silver that I have. I actually need to go out there and actually get stuff going, which means that everything is going to be driven by players, which is one of the main strengths of this game. Now, in order to craft stuff, you need tools. And different tools mine different materials, and different materials require different levels of tools. So if you take a look right now at my inventory, I got a bunch of tools in here. We got this one, for example, the Novice Gem Hammer right here, which is a second tier. But I also do have a tier 3 axe, a Journeyman's Axe. And how it basically works is that with a tier 2, like, crafting tool right here, you can go ahead and mine up to tier 3 resources in the world. So everywhere you go in the world, we will go on a little crafting run in a little bit, but everywhere you go in the world, you will find resources, and certain resources you can only mine with, better axes. So for example, right now that I have my rank 3 axe, my tier 3 Journeyman's Axe, I can go ahead and get a new type of log, a new type of tree that I can cut down and therefore get new resources. Now what I can do with these resources is either put them straight away into new tools that I can craft. For example, right here, I currently am running like the tier 2 for most of these tools except for the axe. But let's say I want to go ahead and get the Journeyman Stone Hammer right here. I can go ahead, get the resources to actually create this thing. It still requires a little bit of silver. But I will need to get, a bunch of logs that are tier 3 already, which requires me to have the tier 2, tools to begin with. And you basically very slowly but surely move up in the ranks, so to say, of tool making, and obviously there is going to be even better tools than this as well, which will allow you to cut everything down in the world. Now, even though I do have a higher level axe right here, I can still go ahead and also cut down the rank 1 and 2 trees if I really want to, and those will actually be sped up. So right now, if I want to go ahead and get one of the easier, so to say, logs, or if I need one of the easier ones to craft like a lower level tool, I can still go ahead and cut those down with my higher tier axe. It will just go a whole lot faster, but it's still a possibility. Another thing you can do with your actual resources that you mine is actually refine them into other resources. So let's say, well, for one of the early game axes that you will need to create, you can actually just go ahead and use logs. But later on, you will need to get some refined resources. So for example, let's say I go out in the world, I cut down a tree. I can actually cut down this tree right here to give you an example. So there we go, I actually got one rough wood right there. If I go ahead and look at this guy, I can actually refine this one wood. Well, I actually don't have the correct one right now, because like I said, we don't actually have any use for those. But let's say I had a tier 2, a tier 2 log right there. I could go ahead and actually craft this one into a tier 2 normal plank as well, which will allow me to once again then create better tools. Now, on top of that, besides just being able to create better gear and better armor and better tools and whatnot, you can also go ahead and sell stuff right here in the so-called auction house. So if you take a look at this right here, this is basically like a marketplace, like the Grand Exchange in RuneScape, so to say, where you can go ahead and either buy stuff. So let's say I want to have like normal wood. Let's say I want to have normal wood. Wow. And let's say I want to buy some of these planks right here. I can go ahead and pay the price of 2 silver each. Let's say I want to have a bunch of them. I can go ahead and purchase it right here, which means that I can also buy it. And on top of that, as you might have already guessed, you can sell stuff as well. So, well, let's say I just want to sell this one rough wood that I just, put out right there. I'm gonna create a sell order right here, and I'm gonna ask a single silver for it. Absolutely amazing, and I'm gonna confirm it. So right now, it is going to be sold on this marketplace. People can go ahead and actually buy it, and once a certain order has been completed, if you take a look at this one right here, for example, I sold this rope yesterday, and I sold a rough stone as well as a rough wood. I can go ahead and actually take the silver and get some more silver going that way. And by the way, the silver is gathered from, the silver is sort of like a weird resource, but we'll go over that in a little bit as well. But that one is basically gathered from killing minions and killing things out in the world. So what happens most of the time is that certain rare resources that we will hopefully find as well in this video are going to make you travel further into the world, but they are going to be worth the risk because, well, you know, even though it will take a lot longer and even though you will be susceptible to certain types of PvP, you are going to have more valuable resources which will give you higher quality tools or give you higher quality, or well, higher quality silver, give you more stuff to create better tools with later on. So it is worth most of the time to take a little bit of a risk. Now, currently, everyone is mostly sitting in these opener cities right here. If you take a look, Queen's Market is one of the early places which you get to when you're first starting off the game. So most people will sort of be in like this little area with the first like early level zones. But once you actually venture out into the open right here, let's say you go all the way up here, there is gonna be PvP in all of those zones. So players can go ahead and just simply, you know, nuke you down or kill you, but the trade that you can make right there is obviously you can also go ahead and kill other players, but on top of that there's going to be a lot more valuable resources in this area to begin with than there is going to be in the opener places. Now in the opener places where we are going to go today, there won't be any PvP, so there's not going to be very much right there, but I can still, you know, show you the way the resources are gathered. So those are the basic ways of going ahead now, or of going ahead and gathering stuff and crafting stuff. Now I already have the tools with me that I'm going to be using for this run, but on top of that there's one more important thing to keep in mind. So right here you can have a look. For example, this Journeyman's pickaxe is still grayed out, and the reason for that is quite obviously because of the Destiny board. So the Destiny board is a way you can get all of your progress going. So if we take a quick look right here, there's all kinds of different branches that you have in this tree. So there is the Trainee Fighter branch, where I'm actually going for the Spellcaster, and I'm mainly focusing on the fire stuff, which is right here in the corner. And basically what happens is that you branch out into a certain direction. So while I can still go ahead and also wear like a sword or a bow, I'm gonna have to start off with the lower tier. With the lower tier weapons. I'm gonna have to use a staff 100 times, or, you know, 480 fame, in order for me to actually go ahead and upgrade it to later tiers. And as you can see, there's gonna be a whole bunch of extra tiers that I can also go for. But the same is true for the crafting tools. So right here, if we take a look at this, for example, this one right here, Journeyman Refiner, is what we are looking at a whole lot. Right now, you know, we are trying to get this Adopt Wood Refiner, craft coarse planks, worth 2,448 fame, which is gonna be necessary in order for me to move up to this one right here, which is gonna be an Expert Wood Refiner, which will once again allow me to, you know, refine one of these higher level resources. So what we are going to be focusing on mainly right now is just gathering a whole lot of these resources so we can go ahead and get better tools. But yeah, it's a pretty in-depth system. Like, it's a really cool system. So for example, right now I can only craft this staff as well, and I eventually also want to go ahead and get another staff going. So I will have to choose whether or not I want to go for this one, the Adept Greater Fire Staff, or if I want to go into a completely different direction and maybe get this staff going, the Elder Fire Staff, opposed to the Elder Greater Fire Staff. You know, there's like different directions that you can go in, and basically you move up in tiers, but you're gonna have to use the previous tier in order to unlock the next tier. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna move out into the world, and I'm gonna show you guys like a little run. Now, like I said, this is going to be one of the early zones, so we do want to venture out a little bit more into the world. So let's go into the first zone where most people will go to. Most of these resources that you see on the sides of the road right now are going to be mined out, simply because, well, there's a lot of people running around here, and they will likely also go ahead and mine these resources. So if you take a look, for example, at, well, I'm just going to take this random stone right here. I can go ahead and gather that. Well, it turns out this one actually has 4. But you know, I can actually go ahead and gather all of those 4 stones, and once it's depleted, as you can see right now, the resource is depleted, it will start slowly but surely regenerating these charges, so to say, that it has over time. So most of the time what happens is that when you're traveling close to the road and there's anything valuable there at all, the stone right there really isn't very valuable, so I'm gonna get rid of that. But when you see anything valuable at all, most of the time it is going to be cut down and already harvested, which means that, you know, you're gonna have to get very lucky if you're gonna find a, you know, a high yield patch of stuff. Now this is, for example, a pretty good one. So there's 2 different types of trees that you can see right here. This first one right here is rough wood, which is the very first tier of wood that you can gather, which has this little 1 right here in the top left. But this one right here is going to be the tier 2 wood. Normal wood is what it's called. And this one actually has a little 2 in there. Now, with my current axe, I can get up to tier 4 trees and tier 4 logs. So I'm gonna try and mostly look for those. And these, you know, these logs right here are not going to be very useful anymore for me. Now, like I pointed out, more often than not, at least in my experience so far, the more you venture out into the world, the riskier it will get as well. Because, well, you know, you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to get out of there, or you're gonna have to go out of the world to gather the better resources. But that comes at a risk that there is going to be other, you know, players right there as well. And this, by the way, is a tier 2, or the tier 3 log right there that I can also get one of. There we go. You can see the different types of logs that I got so far. That all are used for different tools and for higher level tools. So usually it is worth venturing out into the world a little bit more, but there's a couple of things that you need to keep in mind. First off, when you are just walking down the path like we are doing right now, there's a big chance everything is going to be harvested. But there's another way of getting stuff. It's simply just sort of going off-road and going into the world in this direction. So right now, you know, you can see there's a couple of bandits right here that we could kill if we really want to. I'm just gonna run past them. Do need to make sure that I don't die. But that, for example, is a boar right there that I could craft, or that I could actually skin if I had the correct tools for it, but currently I do not. But generally speaking, when you go off-roads like that, for example, right there, you can see these high-level resources, and I'm not completely sure if I can actually mine those, but we can have a look. Let's go over the river right now and get over there and see what's going on. Now, this is also something that we'll go over in a second. That's actually like a little glowing thing right there. We'll get back here in a second. But for example, going off-road here allows me to find these resources right here. And it turns out I do actually need the Journeyman's hammer. Or a Journeyman's, was it a hammer that I needed right there? Yeah, a gem hammer right now. And I currently only have this one right here. Actually, is it that one? No, it's this one right here, the Novice Gem Hammer. So I do need the higher tier one. But I can get the steel ore with my tier 2 pickaxe. So the more you venture out into the world, the bigger the chance becomes that you get more stuff. So this right here is flax. That is like the level 2 resource. But this right here is cotton, which is going to be the level 3 resource, for which you need one higher tier. Now, so far, I cannot actually get these green things yet. That's unfortunate, because this is actually a rare spawn right up there. You can see this little glowing thing. That's a rare spawn up there. So let's just move back and see if we can actually harvest the other one that we could see here previously. So I'm not completely sure if I can get this one. I might need... Oh, this one is actually just now depleted. So that's unfortunate as well. But, you know, most of the time you can find these higher yield resources and just the higher quality resources by going off-road. But that comes at the risk that, you know, you both have a chance to get killed in the higher level zones. Or you also have a chance to... you know, simply just get in combat with NPCs that are running around in the world as well. Now, I'm gonna go one more zone up, so I can show you guys the differences. So, early on right there really wasn't very much to gather, unless you're at one of the lower levels. But right now, we're definitely gonna have to move up a little bit. Now, normally, this would be a pretty good zone for me to start gathering some stuff. But I just wanted to show you guys the other ones as well. Now, there's another aspect to this as well, is that when you are carrying a lot of stuff, everything that you have is a certain percentage of weight. So if you take a look right now at my character information sheet right there, you can see that my current weight is 22. But when I pass 100%, which I can do, I'm going to be slowed down. So what happens in the higher level zones is that you will find all these players, you know, that you can attack, that are, you know, likely to have a bunch of resources. But if you can see one of them that is significantly slowed down, you know that that is going to be a very juicy target, because they are slowed down because of the fact they are like carrying a lot of stuff. So, you know, there's all kinds of different aspects to getting greedy and to this is, by the way, not a little town right here, but to getting greedy in the game and to actually get some extra resources going. Now, here we go. Do you want to enter the PvP cluster? I wasn't actually planning on going there. Oh man, should I actually go ahead and do that? Oh man, this is gonna be a terrible idea, but let's go. Let's just have a quick look. Let's just have a quick look. So in this zone, there's definitely a much bigger chance that we have, you know, people that are gonna try and kill me. So I'm instantly gonna go off-road here. Obviously, improving the chance that we'll find something, you know, valuable. Like this right here. We're actually gonna have to kill this wolf pretty quickly. Come on, Lowko. Kill the wolf. But, you know, even though we're going off-road here, it's gonna be a little bit scary because I might end up getting killed. Which I really don't want to do because I got my horse with me, and my horse is pretty valuable. But we have a much bigger chance of finding good stuff over here, which is nice. Alright. Now, I'm not gonna venture out too far, but this is, for example, something we can now gather with our tool. By the way, this disgusting sound right here. But this is, for example, a wolf that we just killed, and now we can go ahead and actually skin that. Now, I was gonna go for these things right here, which is rough emerald, and I do need a lot of those. So once I actually get plenty of these emeralds mined, I will eventually rank up on the destiny board, which will allow me to then get the tier 3 gem hammer. And then we can go ahead and actually get the green ones as well. So that is in short how it works. Now, you know, usually it is really first come, first serve. So right now there was someone here a little while ago. These aren't like 11 stacks. So I know for a fact that there was here someone like maybe 10 or 20 minutes ago. Don't know exactly at the respawn rate of all these different resources. But this is a little bit scary. I'm pretty close to the opener. So I think I could mount up and get out of here if I have to. But this is still going to be pretty scary. Just going to go to all of these things. Skin that wolf as well, and then I'm gonna run back out. So, you know, most of the time what you want to go ahead and do is try and venture out into the higher level zones and get the resources that you really need. But that comes at the cost that you are at a risk to get the, you know, other players to attack you. And sometimes I've already heard stories of other players that I've been playing with, that there is gonna be, you know, other, like, guilds running around here that are actually gonna, like, 3v1 you. Which would be very unfortunate, because at that point it's going to be very difficult to get out of here. But, you know, the risk is, the potential reward is that we find all these resources that are going to be very hard to find in the normal world, so to say. So right now I got 20 of these guys, which is actually really, really nice. There we go. Get the, well, we could get the iron ore, but those we can find everywhere. Just going to skin the wolf, and then we're going to get out of here. So, by the way, I don't know if I already pointed that out, but it's quite obvious that for all these different kinds of materials that you have out of here, so for a wolf, I'm gonna need a different tool than to cut down a tree. I figured that would be pretty obvious, but, you know, just for anyone wondering, you can indeed specialize. So what will likely happen at some point in this game, because the destiny board is so extremely wide, you know, like you can go so many different places, it may actually be worth your time to specialize in a certain direction. So for example, you're only gonna go for sword and board, which is like melee, and then you also get mining, which is gonna be for like iron ores and whatnot, and skinning. For example, those two. While you can go ahead and be like a jack of all trades, which I'm sort of doing right now, it may definitely be valuable to focus on one. Because if you're going to be the only one at the start of the game especially... Oh, there we actually get the mastery level, wow. But if you're going to be the only one doing a certain thing, you're gonna be very, very good in that direction. So we did get a nice little achievement right there. We're gonna have a quick look at exactly what that one did. Didn't actually read it. I probably should have. But let's just get out of the PvP zone. A little bit scary. But yeah, the risk was definitely worth it, because right now we have all kinds of valuable things. So let's have a quick look at the destiny board right there. What exactly we unlocked. I think it must have been in this direction right here. Not quite, not quite. But anyways, so these are what we are looking for right now. We already did the Journeyman Quarryman, but we also want to be getting... we already did the Lumberjack one, sorry. And now we also want to be getting the Quarryman, the Ore Miner, which we're actually pretty close to getting the next rank in as well. So we can go ahead and mine tier 4 resources. Adapt Harvester is what we also are looking for. Journeyman Animal Skinner, which we're also about halfway done. Fiber Harvester, which we are about, you know, 3/4 done. And then the Gem Hunter. Now, like I said, I haven't really found too many gems, so I'm pretty glad that we managed to get those things going. But that is in short how it works. Now, which one did I exactly unlock? Didn't actually pay attention to that very much right there. I probably should have noticed that, but either way, what it means is that most of the time, I think when you first started off in the game, and this is me just you know, sort of creating a strategy for when the actual game comes out. I think it may be very profitable if you go ahead and only focus on really one thing. So I'm thinking when this game resets again after the alpha is over and the new or the next alpha or beta starts, I'm thinking of going for only like sword and board, and then focus only on swords, or maybe only on maces or something like that. And then focus on one of these resources and then one of the refining. So we, we have a chance at actually getting some extra stuff. Now I also wanted to show you guys how the refining works, although I'm not completely sure if we can actually go ahead and refine in this area. There may obviously be some player-based things that we can use, but... Alright guys, so I did end up finding this little stonemason right here, where I can actually refine the emeralds that I got earlier into, you know, refined materials that I can actually use to get more stuff going. So I do have to pay a little bit of a fee for that. Like I wanted to point out earlier, you can either pay this sort of stuff with silver or with gold. Now gold you get from simply spending some money on the game, so you can buy, you can buy something in the actual game. And spend some real euros or some real dollars to get some gold in return. Or you can simply pay it by silver, which you can get by going inside of, like, you know, dungeons and whatnot, or just simply killing out, like, humanoids out in the world. And they do drop a pretty considerable amount of gold. But here we go. I do have my new gems right here, which are going to be very useful because I can use those to craft new tools. So that's in short how this whole thing works. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna put all my non-valuable stuff in the bank right here. Simply just gonna put everything in there. And what I'm gonna do is actually just run out in the zone right there, get as many resources as I can of the highest tier that I can get, and then I'm gonna run out again. This is going to be a lot more useful than going the low level zones, because what happens is gonna be a lot more competition going on, but obviously this comes at the risk of me getting killed by other players, and you know, the reward that I will have a much easier time gathering high level resources. Like, these guys will easily kill me. Lord Rout right there, look at that guy. He has way more health, way more mana and everything, and fancy gear as well. So it's gonna be a little bit scary, but I am going to try and get the tier 4 and 5 tools as soon as I possibly can. If you are looking to give this game a try, consider using the referral link that I put right in the description of the video, so I get a little bit of money in return for you doing so. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does give me a bunch of stuff in return, so it'd be awesome if you would do. You know, it would be awesome if you do decide to do so if you are going to give this game a try. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. And other than that, I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I'll see you in the next one.